This is Nick Nilsson, the Mad Scientist of Muscle, and what I've got for you here today is a review and some demo of some of the exercises that I've come up with for a new piece of equipment called the Slayer Barbell. Now, this is a really cool piece of equipment. I'm going to show you a close-up view of it here. Basically, it's a pad here, a couple of pads here, and a cambered bar. Now what this does is it allows you to slide your hands in here and basically brace your forearms as you're doing specific exercises. It's kind of hard to explain exactly why it works. A lot of it you'll see as I'm doing some of these demo exercises. So I'm going to give you a quick run through of some of the stuff that I've come up with, some of the stuff that I've seen for it, and seen others do with it. Now the first exercise is just a simple reverse curl. Get your hands in here, you get your hands on the bar, and then it's simply a matter of curling up and squeezing. Now, when you're doing this one of the beautiful things about it is you can actually let go of the bar completely with the reverse curl. I'm going to demonstrate that one for you here as well. It's a good one for me to do the let go version because right now I've got a little bit of elbow tendonitis, so actually gripping on the bar, that hurts. But if I can use just the forearms to push that pad, that's what's going to really be the real value of this movement. Okay. So here's the reverse curl done with no grip. And basically you're going to be setting the bar on your lap, you're going to be bracing the longer bar in your midsection, and then you're just kind of pulling that bar into your stomach and using your brachialis muscles / forearms here to pull the bar up towards your face. So get your hands inside, get the camber part just resting on your knees like so. Then you slide your forearms in, bring that bar right into your stomach, and then just pull that up using pressure from your wrists. That's the reverse curl with no grip. The next exercise is the standing barbell curl. Now, you'll notice when you look at this Slayer barbell that the actual grip kind of forms a wave pattern. Now, when you're doing this, I like to kind of grip, oddly enough, on the bottom of that wave pattern, even though it's not a straight bar attachment. This puts your hands in a supinated position, which better activates the biceps. You can also mimic an easy curl pattern by holding it at an angle like that, which is easier on the wrists, but it doesn't give you as much bicep action. It's a little bit more brachialis when you're turning your wrists like that. So, like I said, I like to do the straight supination with this one. The movement, very similar. As you can see, I'm holding it right on the bottom here. Set yourself up like normal, and then curl. And one of the things you'll notice is when I'm curling up, I'm doing kind of an exaggerated range at the top. I find this really gives a better contraction as you're kind of bracing and doing the movement. Now, the other thing to notice is as I'm starting the curl, this pad is actually contacting my forearm. So rather than just having the grip on the bar, it's actually pressing on the pad as well, which means you're not only just lifting with your hands, you're lifting with your entire forearm, which actually gives you, I find, greater bicep muscle activation. So enough chit-chat. Like I said, you can also switch to an angled grip here as well. More of an easy curl kind of movement. So this next exercise is the lying tricep extension. You're going to lie down with the bar on the ground. I like to do this one on the ground better. I think it's easier to get into and out of position, just so you know. Set this long bar forward so the two pads are up top. Then you're just going to lay back on the ground, slide your hands in between the two pads, and lift the bar up for a pullover and do the extension from there. Now, when you're doing this one of the beauty things of this one is because your forearms are basically contacting these pads, it's going to keep your elbows from drifting out and turning into more of a press. This is going to force your elbows in. It's really going to make the exercise more of an isolation exercise for the triceps. So get yourself in position, put your hands on the bar, and then pull the bar over to start. And then it's a simple skull crusher, nose breaker kind of movement. And you can also do a bit of a close grip press as well, but the range of motion is shorter because of the pads. It'll just look like that. So you can use that to rep out with if you want, or you can do like an inset superset like I've done in other videos. And then pull over and run. So that's the beauty of doing this exercise on the floor. So it's easier to get into and out of position. Now, you can also use this bar as apparatus to do push-ups on. You can do close grip push-ups with your hands on these top bars. You can slide them out a little bit and do regular wide grip push-ups. Not quite as wide as you might do it on the floor, but it's still a pretty good range of motion. This gap in the middle allows you some increased range of motion as well. So here's what that looks like. Using your hands just on these pads. Now, before I continue with that, the beauty of these pads is that you really squish your hands around them, and I find that really activates the triceps very strongly. Kind of like doing a thick bar curl, only better in that these are actually squishy, so you're actively squishing down as you're doing the exercise, which I think gives additional benefits for fiber activation even beyond just the open hand size. So here's what it looks like. And with your hands a little bit wider to do regular push-ups. So, very simple way to use this as apparatus. Now you can also use the Slayer Barbell to do leg training. There's a great way to do front squats with this as well. Basically what you're going to do is grip it like you're doing a reverse curl. You're going to use some body momentum, kind of like a clean, and then you're just going to get that thing up into position, and then you're going to do a front squat from there. So it's very similar to a clean and then front squat, only the barbell is different obviously. You got some padding. It's actually a little bit easier on the frontal abdominal area, so it's not going to challenge that quite as much as a regular front squat because there is a little bit more skeletal and bar support involved. So here's what that looks like. Just take a regular grip here. This long bar pad is going to be in towards your stomach, and then you're just going to do very similar, like I said, to a clean to get the weight up to the top position. And back down. Alright, so obviously it's not a perfect front squat, but you are limited the amount of weight you can use based on what you can get into position with that method. But if you're doing higher reps for your front squat, it is a good way to get a better skeletal support rather than the cross arm racking or the regular clean racking. I find you'll be able to get more reps with that same amount of weight than you would with the regular conventional style. So this is definitely worth adding in for some of the higher rep stuff you want to do for squats and for working the legs just in general. Alright, so in continuing with that same idea of doing higher rep kind of lighter weight stuff for the legs. You can also do a front position lunge with this one. And basically it's the exact same kind of pattern of getting the bar into position, holding it there, and then just doing a lunge movement or a step back lunge movement rather than a squat. So this is what that looks like. Just like so. And you can also do it as a walking lunge, or like I said, as a reverse lunge, like that. So basically, any leg exercise you can do with that front racking position, you can do with a Slayer barbell. This exercise is a front delt focused shoulder press. You can take kind of a close grip on the bar and then use that in front of you and just push it straight up in front. Now, this is a bit easier on the shoulders than the standard wide grip because your shoulders are more compact and more locked into the movement in front. I find this a little bit easier to work with. It will, like I said, focus more on the front delts, and it will target the triceps a little more strongly than the regular shoulder press. So that's something to be aware of. But here's what that looks like. You'll take the same grip on the bar as you're doing your reverse curls. You're going to whip it up the same as like you were doing a clean up into that racking position. And then just press straight up in front. So one thing you'll notice as I'm doing these is that as I'm pressing, I'm bringing my head forward under the bar. This is for complete shoulder activation, specifically targeting the rear delts. If you're just holding it out in front, you're not activating the rear delts fully. You got to bring that here, bring your head under the bar, and then you get the full range of motion. So something to keep in mind not only with this exercise, but any barbell shoulder exercise. And so the Slayer barbell can actually be used for bent over barbell rows as well. More of a wide grip, overhand grip. The movement pretty much is exactly the same. The main difference is because the bar is up here and the weight is kind of suspended down below, it does give a slightly different feel. And I find it actually helps activate those middle traps, rhomboids, and teres major a little bit more strongly than a regular press, regular wide grip row, because of that dangling kind of sensation that really, it's hard to explain, but it basically kind of teaches your body to kind of pull in from the shoulder blades first rather than just trying to row madly and using the biceps a little bit too much. So here's what that looks like. Obviously you can go a little heavier. I'm just using a couple of 25s on here. But just grip on this outside part of the bar and then simple as that. Very straightforward barbell row movement. Right, so this is a version of the leg extension. Now, the reason you want to do this is to really get a solid contraction in on the quads. One of the best things about this is I don't have the same amount of knee stress coming through the joint as I find with a regular leg extension machine. Essentially, you're just going to be sticking with the top quarter of the range of motion anyways. You're not going to be doing all the way down, and the down part is really where the knee stress primarily happens anyways. So what I've got here are the two pads sitting on the floor. I've got a light weight on here. This is only 10 pounds on here. The key here is the leverage that you're going to get at the top of the curl, the top of the leg extension. That's what's really going to do the trick. What you're going to do, and I will zoom in on this after I've done a set so you can see exactly what my foot placement is. Set your feet on top of the long pad, hook your toes underneath the bar, the cambered bar, and then you're just going to lean back. And this is actually really going to work your abdominals strongly in addition to the quads. And then you're just going to extend up like so and hold. So you're going to squeeze those quads really, really hard. I'm going to slide a little bit back and then it's actually even better of an abdominal exercise than it is a quad exercise. To be quite honest, really going to work both sets of muscles extremely well. So I'll show you the close-in of the foot position here too. Here's what the foot position looks like. You're going to be setting those two pads on the floor, camber bar side up, hook your feet right under that pointy part, and then extend up and out. Now, if you have an adjustable incline bench, you can also take that up a notch so that you're getting a little bit greater range of motion. So let me slide that back in here, and then extend up. So basically, this gives you an option as a free weight leg extension exercise, which is not nearly as hard on the knees as a regular machine leg extension. Right, so that is the Slayer Barbell. As you can see, it's a very innovative, very versatile piece of training equipment, and it's definitely very well constructed. This thing is built solid like a rock. You'll never have to worry about breaking this thing. It's definitely a piece of training equipment that I can highly recommend for you.